Tashidele to
all Rinpoche.
Can they hear me?
Rinpoche.
Yeah, they can. Can you hear me?
Gatro Delek, Kukam Sam.
I'm not sure. Hello? Can you
Kukam Sam? Hello?
I don't think. Can you hear?
Yes, we can hear. Can you hear me?
Yes. Did you hear Rinpoche?
Not yet.
Oh, because Rinpoche just said something. Anyways, let me translate that first. So Rinpoche said, Tashidele to all the Dharma friends and the Sangha in the different countries around the world. And thank you for joining the live stream and Tashidele. So I think now.
Wow. Tashidele. Okay. So, dear Dharma friends all over the world, whoever is connected with us, Drikung Rinpoche, as a representative of his Garchen Rinpoche in Europe, would like to welcome Garchen Rinpoche from the whole European Sangha. Philipp, bitte spreche nicht, weil sonst hören Sie mich nicht. Okay, bisschen später. Okay, so we are more than happy that His Eminence Garchen Rinpoche accepted our request and will today bestow the precious Hevajra Empowerment, and tomorrow on Sunday, a profound teachings on 4 dharmas of Gampopa. Hevajra belongs to the 4 high tantras like Kala Chakra, Chakra Samvara, and Guhya Samaja. The last 3 empowerments Rinpoche bestowed already in Europe. So we are very, very grateful that with Hevajra, all the empowerments for the 4 high tantras are complete. Tomorrow on Sunday, His Eminence Garchen Rinpoche will give profound teachings on 4 dharmas of Gampopa, in which the Buddhist teachings are summarized. We are all very, very grateful and thankful to our beloved Guru, His Eminence Garchen Rinpoche, for these profound and precious instructions, which are coming from his loving heart, vast experience and practice, and for his blessings. The whole Sangha says also thank you to Drikung Rinpoche for all his engagement to organize this event. And also we say thank you to the directors, all directors of GBI in Arizona for arranging this event and for their constant support. Also many, many thanks to all organizers for the internet and streaming and all the translators who are helping Sangha today in 7 languages. Lots of blessings and inspiration to all of you. Tashidele. And today we have a very auspicious day. Today is Guru Rinpoche Day. So Drikung Rinpoche told us just to say it to you. Okay, thank you so much, Tashidele.
Yeah, Rinpoche doesn't really hear so well, so Abu Lama said don't translate now.
리추고서 놓고 들이 계시 용말 들다다 라마 개비신이 탐실라 들이 호암 마동 버디 쪽서서도 다들 책도 말이 삼고 책도 봤다는 말이 그린 자송사를 놓고 여담을 걸었으니 라마 여담을 통하지 놓고 통해 라마 여담을 통고요 여담을 라강한 말라마티 디소가 덤르고요 여담스가 보지 않으고요 이거 라마 놓고도 오 다다때는 람 미리 좀데 다고서 듣기 샤타고 템르고요 그래서 얘는 라마 산쪽 생거랑 아족들이 여담들이 남양들이 계시면봐 도지가 저 대지다 뭐서 법안남이만 보시게 그래 풍부도 좀 남인사로 줘서 그래서 풍부도 나디니 줘요래 이 다음에는 산쪽 생거랑 아족들이 다음에는 산쪽 생거랑 아족 잘로 그래 산쪽 생거랑 아족들이 계시면봐 이 생은 좀 발라니 소리면 서 라마 좋다 지내서 아서 좀 해봐 됐다고 그러나 다 때문에 도와다 문에도 통고요래 게임이 저도 사제 같이 말이 다른 게다도 가도 요나요래 아프고 지에서 로다 파마 보나 게요래 무슨 토야요래 그러면 감들들이 가는 게들이 랑게 다 맞지 보면 산책은 양다와 속자고 요래 산책에 요복가라 이렇게 직접 조상제지 그리고 안고 주시에 가면들이 되전자 다 됐다면요 문제들이 라마지 산책때 들어서 롱가다 죽고 송제 차대요래 자송 따라지 어떤 문제를 다 되는 문제를 가지면 요래서들이 sem주고 차고요래 그리고 문제를 말게자 책 문제를 이 책들 남양대지야 요 말이 와서 사지 까리 덴바니 동다리 그런 거 좋통한데 문제를 다 되는 문제 통통 막 통한테 그 말이 상거랬지
Dharma friends, I'm very happy to see all of your faces today on the screen. And so maybe you're thinking that, it's just a screen, we're just seeing each other on the live stream, but I can't really hug him in real life. But actually, I don't think like that. And because the secret mantra teaches that everything, it speaks about the qualities of the three kayas, and everything has that quality. Jigten Sungen also had said that the highest practitioner or disciple sees the guru as the Dharmakaya, and then the average disciple, a kind of medium capacity disciple, sees the guru as Sambhogakaya, and the lowest practitioner sees the guru as Nirmanakaya. And Nirmanakaya form of the guru is the human body, and it is a human body, even though it is a Nirmanakaya, it's still the same as us, it's a human being, he's a human being, but his experience is separate, it's different. And because a Buddha emanation is an emanation of bodhicitta, a manifestation of bodhicitta. So the guru therefore really embodies the qualities of the three kayas. So ultimately, the Dharmakaya and the Sambhogakaya are a union, and this union, these two transcend birth and death. And the disciples often make prayers for the various gurus, the spiritual teachers, to remain with us for as long as samsara exists. And some people might think that these are just empty words, but that's not true at all. Even after the physical body has disintegrated, the guru will then arise in the rainbow-like Sambhogakaya form of the Yidam deity. And that is to see the guru as the Sambhogakaya. So whichever was that guru's Yidam deity, then when the body is exchanged, then the guru dissolves into that Yidam deity, and that Yidam deity then looks kind of after him. And it is just really that the physical form of the human form of flesh, blood, and bones, that is what dissolves, disintegrates. But Yidam deity is a manifestation of bodhicitta, and that really transcends birth and death. So we speak about the accomplishment of the Vajra body. Also, many of you are practitioners of the Vajrakilaya, and in there it says that when the demon, the Mara of the aggregates, is conquered, the body ripens into the form of the deity. So that is the aggregate, which is the physical body, is created through self-grasping. And when bodhicitta arises, there is no more self-grasping. And that mind, therefore, this nature, therefore, transcends birth and death, because there is no more basis for a physical aggregate. And the mind that transcends birth and death is without coming and going, as it is said in the 37 Bodhisattva practices, where it says that the Supreme Guru and Chenrezig have realized that phenomena neither come nor go, and so on. So actually what you're seeing today on the screen, this is really me. This is who I really am. You see this form, Sambhogakaya-like form, and also you actually hear my words. And the words are the actual, authentic words of the Buddha. And then, because the reason why this is more real than my physical presence is because even later, when I have exchanged bodies, or this aggregate, then still, for many hundreds of years, there's recordings of these words, and people can see my body on the screen, and they can hear the teachings, they can hear the words. And that's really what's most important. Even though I don't have so much learning, I do make the greatest effort in cultivating bodhicitta. And when that arises, you really are a Buddha. It is said in an instant, in one moment, you are a Buddha. And so we always receive a lot of empowerments and a lot of teachings. And so you understand the connection between the Guru and the Sambhogakaya deity, and then the connection to the Dharmakaya. And so what you see on the screen, that is the real me, actually. And I'm always, and then when you know that, you recognize that actually he's always there. Whenever I want to listen to the teachings, I can listen to them. Whenever I want to see it, I can watch it, I can see it. So when you know that, then you will feel happy in your mind. And the words that I speak, these are really most important. And you should never forget about the words, because they are the actual words of the Buddha. They are the twofold truth. So what you see, the body, the form that you see on the screen, that is actually my actual form. And the ordinary, normal form that you meet, the body, that is false. So this is how you should see it.
lama gevishi to drapa tes sapki yore gangi dina oh drapa to le de shi oh ta na wa ya mo ma de kwa me va te no che drapa ka se thona tri ta ma to lokto sabar to lokto da ma bo yore drapa saba tham je ke tri oh le de oh mini ris le de shi ma ta tham che mo to lo sa ko re ben ji ti su Jumdi kiji sambar hanzo ki yinsong, ngeti lamna khachi, ri lao kato khachi. Matang tuto roka rik tok semchi de, semi je tikpa re de, ri je kutu le inde unga re, roma tabchi. O tito, dhupa topo de, o mata tuto tikpa re de, ha re ya, ta kato kuwa re, lao kore. Tito, dhupa tab toko re, sem tikpa re je. Te wene te li tata sanga do je tikpa, wang shen do ye pa, nal nyamsa le do pa te, dhupa sapa ta re bena. 대변에 드바 쳤던 속들이 대통령도 봤다 먹어도 봐지 또 먹들 탓도 봤다 통도 봐지 이때 주전 노메니는 고모터 대사가 차디요리 들이 대변에 진짜다 가와장 노래 주인도 저도 봐 타베치는 맞아요 만디 드바 사바다 아리 들으줄래지 축을 제와리 축을 와줘 상속생을 제와리 제와도 셈은 가리 오 실은 이는 삼지 요시 봐. 삼지 용들 시합이 요래. 삼지의 시합이 일이나 희잡은 hin지 일이나 랑그 봐 이나 배 타고 요래. 근데 니마 샤는 차롱 들이셔도 배티다 그래. 이때 다다지 상하게 상하 도제도 가와다 뎀바. 그 가딘 탐지 이때 왜 탐지 다시 들으셔. 이때 이 바터지 왕제
In the prayer for excellent conduct, it says, the limits of space are vast, are endless, and similarly, the limits of sentient beings are endless. And my wish to benefit them is endless, just like that. And so now when there are sentient beings as limitless as space, and the Buddhas will remain for as long as sentient beings remain. Now, therefore, the Buddhas still remain. So the Buddha's teachings appeared in different ways. The three jewels appeared in different ways, in the form of the teachings of sutras and tantras. And it is said that, especially now in the degenerate age, that's the time when the Sutra teachings are coming to an end, to completion, and it's the time for the secret mantra teachings to flourish. And it is said that there is never a time when they will come to an end, the secret mantra Vajrayana teachings. And so that is when one sees the nature of the Vajrayana, the teachings of the Vajrayana are from the perspective of the ultimate truth. So the ultimate truth is the truth that transcends the scope of thought and verbal expression and so on. So these are the teachings of the secret mantra of the Vajrayana. And from that perspective, it is said that all sentient beings are actually Buddhas. Also, the Buddha himself had said that. He said all beings are Buddhas. They are only obscured by adventitious stains, and once these stains are removed, they become actualized as Buddhas. So all sentient beings have a mind, and fundamentally, that mind is actually Buddha. So we call that Buddha nature. And this is really what the secret mantra Vajrayana teaches. And then sentient beings wander in the 6 realms of samsara. They keep going around in circles, and as we keep going around, we purify our obscurations more and more. And finally, when they're all eliminated, one attains awakening and no obscuration is left. So it is just like it is explained in the Samantabhadra prayer. So it is just temporarily that there appears to be separation, a duality between the teacher who tames and then the sentient beings who are to be tamed. But the only difference between them is just the level of purification. So the guru possesses lesser obscurations, has purified more of those obscurations. And so then what the guru tells you then is the teachings on karma. And so then depending on the level of obscuration of the one who receives these teachings, there's different reactions. For example, when you teach some about karma, some people say, oh, these Buddhists are terrible, this is all lie. And so that's a sign that these people have a more thicker, stronger obscurations. It's because they misunderstand how things really are. So there's different ways of misunderstanding. There's a complete lack of understanding, and then there's a partial understanding or kind of a wrong understanding. But the worst of these is a wrong understanding, which is basically to deny the reality of karma. And then there's others, if you tell them about karma, immediately they say like, oh yes, that's how it is. They immediately resonate with that and understand. Jigten Sumgön had said that cause and effect is the ripening of the moment-to-moment thoughts in the mind. So when you tell them about that, some people will immediately, when they hear this line, they will feel, yes, this is how it is. If you tell them, for example, that of the 6 realms of samsara, for example, humans and animals, their mind is the same. When they hear that, immediately they will feel like, yes, it makes sense to them. And then that's a sign of having lesser obscurations. But then somebody with thicker layers of obscurations, when they hear that, that humans and animals are the same, their mind is the same, then they will feel like really shocked by that and feel like what a hoax is that? This is all not true. So that's a sign of having thicker obscurations. So now that is because some people, when their obscurations are lesser, when the layers of obscurations are lesser, even though our mind is fundamentally the same, when your obscurations are not so strong, then a sign of that, for example, is that you want to receive this empowerment of the secret mantra. You want to engage in practice. The thicker the obscurations, the less you will want that. The more doubts will be in your mind, and the more ignorant will be the mind, and especially doubt. Doubt is really the ultimate form of ignorance. And then when there's a lot of ignorance in the mind, you don't want to really listen to the Dharma. And even if you listen, you don't really understand it. So I really feel that all of you are extremely fortunate because you're all here because you want to listen to the Dharma teachings, and that's a sign that your obscurations are not so thick. And it's also a sign that you have a connection to the Dharma from previous lives and a connection to bodhicitta. And this connection is a connection that exists within the mind. It exists within the mind as that feeling of love that you have for others. When you love others, then naturally wisdom arises. And then through compassion and wisdom, your obscurations become purified. So you want to benefit others even more. And so in this way, gradually, this ice block is melting in the sun. So I feel that all of you who have entered the secret mantra, the Vajrayana, are extremely fortunate. So therefore, Dashi Delek to everyone, and today we will receive the Hevajra Empowerment.
Simple, make a top the tie up with Ram, you chung sometimes doing up with no, literally to dog in the number of Gontasia. Yeah, that's something 20% of Kaina, but I took that to your mother, Maggie, Tata Watch, Land, mother, the Gontasia, Yapachi.
And so for the Hevajra Empowerment, there is first a historical background, a story. And so there's a brief story, which No, because a longer story, the thing is, it's difficult for me to see, so I apologize for that. Even though I have a lot of power in my mind, my eyes do not have so much power. And then the letters are very small and I can't really see them clearly, and then maybe I'm making mistakes when I'm reading it. So I apologize for that to the Sangha, to my Dharma friends. So actually, I'm doing it all to please you, but actually the truth is that I don't really see so much with my eyes. So I'm sorry for that, and I openly confess that.
gom jagu reng songa tangke ke rang shiba de salba de toni ju sanang se par de rang tawa de tin do go de sab do go yo se go ne ro ta ne de ni mar ka se ni na de cha ron de so do pe se ta gom nyam nyong che chong se go de ga za wang go ram jong ma gom nyam nyong che wa ta de ga za rab la ko yo de gom nyam nyong deng ka da deng la ko gom nyam nyong ta ma de ni ga da ta ba lu ben nyam nyong la ko ka nyam nyong wa ni mo yi shi ja ta ko yo le ya na de ta ma ni mo yi shi ja ta ko le ni mo ta so ta ga la ni go sa sin ga la ni jer sa sin ga la ni jer sa ha ga la ni nyam zhe li de sa le de sa ha de ni nam de la na me ji song de ni mo yi shi te ga de just about the tata number of their somebody there are longer contact around carry rather than it benefit carry tag yeah new shock chibor ben not tata don't new shock chibor game got the second look to see how worry to see how to see my yard you monte them the just sound 처럼 하는지 양을 매다 버정 제반하지 new 초라 매봐 이제 그 내록 돌아서 상투고 요래 니몽이 시체요 말해서 말해 그래서 남들 반전 오 다들 니몽 덕자래 다들 먹고 사람들이 되라 잡아든 이제 가래 저거 요래 근데 남들 타마치고 그 말은 누가 땅송 대문이 땅송 뭐 코르시다 나 되게 잡다지 뭐 코라 딱원 지고 코 딱원 예민이들이 제당들 다리 세면 제만하게 돼요. 나도 남자 타마차디요. 그리고 제 상하 동시에는 상하가 뭐라 사 도저리디나. 그리고 다 강한 말이지. 그래서 살아요. 그래도 대답을 고아티 남들 타서인데 공군량 명치 정도 따거리 말할 송때를 남들 남들 타서 대기고 그러지. 그리고 남들 차고로 투서고 남년도 공거리서 하는 건 영거들이 이몽이 시체면은 똑새롱도 제발이 말할 송을 어때다 마성 거 봐도 이몽 남도 차창 오시는데 이름이 왜 들리니 이몽도 다들이 좀 이몽도 사진이다 이시래들이 이몽 이시를 저들 남들 벌합 차요에 뒤쳐봐야지.
So you speak about the 4 classes of Tantra, and actually what makes those divisions is not the deity, but it's the practitioner and the way the practitioner engages in practice. And so for the practitioner, there is 3 different kinds: those with higher, those with middling, and those with lower mental capacities. And so what really makes the difference between them? What is the difference? Actually, Mila Ripa had said that what we call the progression through the bhumis and the paths actually is just an increasing clarity of the empty nature of the mind. So it becomes increasingly clear, and this path of one's realization becoming increasingly clear is what we call the bhumis and the paths. And so it requires practice for a long time. And as we practice, awareness becomes more and more clear. And we become more and more clear about our true nature, which we call the view. So the natural state of the mind, the empty natural state of the mind, becomes increasingly clear as we continue our practice. It is just like we are coming closer and closer to the sun. The closer you come to the sun, the more the ice block is melting. So the difference between the different classes of Tantra and so on is just a difference in the experience that the practitioner has. And so someone who has the greatest experience in practice is what we call someone with the highest capacity. And then someone whose practice is kind of mediocre is someone who we call someone with average or kind of a mediocre capacity. And then someone whose experience in meditation is inferior is who we call a person with inferior mental capacity. So the accomplishment of one of the highest capacity is that they are able to transform the afflictive emotions into wisdom. And the individual, the practitioner on the lower path with the lower capacity, so they first enter the path of pratimoksha, of individual liberation, which is the path of rejection. And then the path of the bodhisattvas is the path of transformation. And then the Vajrayana path is the path of actual experience and knowledge. And in the secret mantra, when we then reach the highest yoga tantra, here the one of highest capacity is able to transform the afflictive emotions instantly, very directly. And so wherever you are at, what is your capacity is something you have to see for yourself. And how you can know it is by, for example, looking at what you do when a strong afflictive emotion arises. So, for example, you're in a difficult circumstance, you're very sick, or you suffer a lot, an afflictive emotion arises, a very powerful one. And so if you are of highest capacity, then in that moment you would instantly recognize it with mindfulness, and then you would just continue to sustain that state of mindfulness. And the afflictive emotion then just instantly just is cleared away by this mindfulness. It is just like you pouring hot water over ice, or a fire burns away wood. So the mind becomes completely clear instantaneously. So then you have actualized afflictive emotions as wisdom. Milarepa had said that there is no difference between afflictive emotions and primordial wisdom. So that's from the highest perspective. And then kind of average, mediocre practitioner, when an afflictive emotion arises, they would first label it and say, oh, this is bad, the afflictive emotion is bad. And then they would make an effort to cultivate love and compassion, and then in this way, slowly, the afflictive emotion then disappears. And then someone of inferior capacity would hold on to grudges and would think that, oh, he harmed me, he hurt me, and that really happened, and that was not right. So they constantly think of me. This has happened to me. And then they never forget about it. It just stays in their mind. Just like a thorn pricking your mind all the time. So that's this is how somebody is with the lowest capacity. So on the secret mantra says that allow the afflictive emotions to become liberated in their own natural state, which is on their own. They self-liberate. And so such a practitioner of the lower capacity will not understand that, and they will feel that that doesn't work, and so on. So this is how you need to understand the different levels of mental capacity. So Milarepa had said that, so this is how you see the difference. It is that when you have a real experience in the natural state of the mind, then you have the highest capacity. And then also you are really in like a meditative state continuously day and night. So from that perspective, the highest perspective, Milarepa said that when you realize that, or realizing that there is no difference between afflictive emotions and primordial wisdom, that is the highest realization. And so until then, we practice to recognize all the subtle thoughts and afflictions arising, and in this way they slowly become purified through wisdom, awareness, and through bodhicitta. They gradually become transformed. So, and when they become transformed instantly, so once they become transformed, then you become like a yogi of the highest capacity.
Tela jude samjeje jude samjeje tatwa namjolana mebe ya ning saba niso mebe ju pajiba dojela jagaram pakwe yordo naro samete napoba tamtek dorje brava yapse choji sang shite 마소 소리 제히 종생 강지 종들 양 만로 고속게 다제선 제베 다트 보소 보제보 신더발레 주정 전종 바야세 라카파페 지돌신지 야병제 라마지베 아르만네 동물인지 남토세인지 좀 토세인지 야 개바된데 개바된데 그 제시 양초 그 염치라고 주질라만 시자고 저 김배만 가면 제 망들 남자 로부스는 좀벌 샤mer 가왕 주죠 왕소 제 주제 잡아 내는 봐 주베 더블만 좀 봐서 주바세진이다 라담냠지 제게 레마조바 란낭당 왕당 왕랑 조에 마우베 왕예선 합제는 봐 로본지 좋아라서 근데 나부터 뭐 중디형적 토를 되냐 제가 생각하면 어떻게 해서 남치를 오지다니 최대거든요. 양 네, 생기남변 하자 자침보래들이 로만 탐지고 좋아요래. 들이 왕수바인데 저 광을 말라마지 바디 그 전부요래.
So I will read this short history for the other translators. It's on page 2, not 1. So the non-dual Tantra of glorious Hevajra is the ultimate perfection of all classes of Tantra. It is the profound, unsurpassed, and quintessential yoga. In the noble land of India, Naropa, Maitripa, Krishnacharya, Samaya Vajra, Virupa, and his disciples, Padma Vajra, Shantipa, and many other lineage holders have appeared. In Tibet, Marpa Lotsawa, Lotsawa Dongmi, and Go Lotsawa have transmitted the lineage. This particular empowerment ritual stems from the transmission lineage of the great accomplished Master Shantipa. The lineage gurus of the innate Hevajra with consort, according to the transmission lineage of Lord Drikung and his disciples, is as follows. Butun Rinchen transmitted the lineage to his heart son Rinchen Namgyal. Then it was transmitted through the scholar Chandra Kirti, the master Yeshe Gyamtso, the venerable Khenrab Chujim, Lama Rinchen Gyalpo, the Mahasiddha Bema Garwang, the master Mangtu Namgyal, Acharya Sonam Chimpel, Shama Garwang Chugi Wangchok, and the master Chugi Jakpa. The golden garland lineage of this profound empowerment is undefiled by Samaya violators and superficial fabricated dharma. The empowerment consists of 3 parts: the preliminaries, the explanation, and the actual empowerment. The preliminaries, which are the activities of the Vajra master, are completed. In order to receive the profound empowerment, you should now offer a mandala. And regarding the lineage, Rinpoche said that, so I have received this empowerment for the first time when I was very young, a child, and I hardly remember it. But then again, I received it from Lamchen Rinpoche, and the empowerment comes from the 4 co-emergent deities, which is a very precious empowerment text. There's 4 empowerment texts in there. And so I've received this empowerment, and this is the empowerment I'm giving now. And so that's my personal lineage, and so in general, it is important to hear the names of the lineage masters. Before we receive any empowerment, we always offer a mandala, because the mandala offering is an antidote to self-grasping. And so when you offer the mandala, you bring to mind all the self-grasping of the sentient beings in the 3 realms of samsara, and think that you're offering it all up along with the entire outer universe. So all beings in the universe, everything is offered up to the Buddhas. And so basically what you're giving away is self-grasping. And then when you do that, what you receive in return is loving kindness, it is love. So therefore, it is really on the basis of love, it is to cultivate love that we offer a mandala. And the mandala offering that we should recite now comes from Milarepa's Guru Yoga practice, because this particular mandala offering is extremely profound and meaningful. So please now recite the mandala offering according to the Milarepa Guru Yoga, which is, if you have our yellow prayer book, it's on page 7. Just read that, yeah. An infinite array of worlds, each with 4 continents and the wealth of infinite oceans of realms. If I bring them all to mind and offer them without exception, please hold with compassion all the beings they contain. My body, enjoyments, and whatever I own, my aggregates, elements, and sense sources, my aspirations now and in times to come, as well as everything I grasp as mine. By offering them all, may I be blessed with the end of self-grasping, completely liberated from the bounds of real and unreal, transcending the names and concepts of arising, cessation, and abiding, coming and going, affirmation and denial. The supreme mandala is the natural state. By offering it, may I be blessed to attain the state of Buddhahood. Om Guru Devanda Kini Ratna Mandala Pratija Soha.
남각으로 산지 탐지 종리 들이 다다다서 사회서 심지 탐지 다 왕쇼요사 들이 다지 탐지 감정 심지 탐지 왕도요사 대신에 뭐로 제거들이 나빠서 뭘 해지.
So don't think that that you are receiving this empowerment from the Buddhas who abide in the space before you, and also think that I'm receiving this empowerment together with all sentient beings that exist in the 3 realms of samsara. So think that basically all beings who possess Buddha nature, which is all beings, they all receive the empowerment together.
Garchen Juda Ba De Shopun Chune Gong Sor Jiang Jeb Jianbu Cer Jin Ba Gun Bo Jin Bo Dang Char Lu Dang Cai Deni Da La Zor San Jeb Sim Jiang Da La Zor Tarba Jianbu Gong Chou Ze Gun Bu Da Ne Yog De Sor.
In English. Great joyful one, my teacher, master, please consider me, supreme master, who guides on the path to great awakening. Please grant me samaya, grant me the mind of awakening, grant me the 3 refuges of Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Protect them. Let me enter the sacred city of great liberation.
Quan Cho Song La Da Jam Chi Dek Ba Me Ge So So Xia Ro Wei Ge La Ji Yi Rang 상제, 상첩, 이지성, 상제, 주당, 통조라, 상첩, 바르드, 다점체, 랑진, 동이, 랍드럽설, 상첩, 샘네, 이발제, 상첩, 조크, 샘네, 입지네, 샘지, 삼지, 닭비, 롱더니엘, 장첩, 줌초, 이옹, 깨발지, 로라, 핀설, 상제, 럽바리쇼.
In English, I take refuge in the three jewels and confess all evil and non-virtuous deeds. I rejoice in the virtues of all beings and will hold the Buddha's awakening in mind until attaining awakening. I take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly in order to fully accomplish the purpose of others and myself. I give rise to bodhicitta, having given rise to the mind of supreme awakening. I welcome all beings. I will practice the supreme bodhisattva conduct that is pleasing to all. May I attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all beings.
네 선택 되나 다다다 꼰초스고 용띠의 주인공들이 왕가되는데 잡춘 동안서 산속에 샘지 바지 다 왕야미 가르쳐 이제 딱 차대리 그러나서 강리에 되는들이 꼰초스는 사기에 주당 개들수는 마티 있나 그래서 상첩지 바지 십지 담게 율 띠와들이 카부티마도 요 말이 뒤에 띠와도 있지 저리지들이 마티와 찌와 뭐냐고 공을 배웠다 사기 좀 뒤지기 지랍이 실렸더니 정말 맞아 주베 이 생기 율 사기 요장 꼰초스는 마티 람데다 운이요 말이 그래서 싸움을 당하더니 소식이라 30일 같이도 때려 30일이 녀야 요 말이더니 대체는 꼰초스는 집에서 가든 침보래 호박을 등에 실은 꼰초스도 가든 침보래 그냥 타반이 때 받았지 이렇게 지금 요래지.
And so in this supplication, we have to remember the qualities of the three jewels. And whenever we receive an empowerment, and actually whatever practice we engage in, it is always engaged in on the basis of having taken refuge and given rise to the mind of bodhicitta. And so we take refuge in the three jewels, the Buddha, Dharma, and the Sangha. Because if we do not rely on the three jewels, then we cannot attain the state of perfect enlightenment. And because now sentient beings, even though they possess Buddha nature, their love is just as big as a needle's oar, like the little hole in a needle. So therefore, when we follow the path is a method to cultivate love where it has not yet arisen, and to not let it decline where it has arisen, and to ever further increase it. So the quality of a Buddha or awakening comes from having cultivated that. And so even though sentient beings, therefore, in their fundamental nature really are Buddha, if they do not follow that path of the three jewels, then they cannot really actualize or realize that state. So to see for yourself, you look at your own mind and see how much love and compassion do I have. Love is something that you cannot buy anywhere. It's not sold anywhere. So when you recognize that, you really can see the kindness of the three jewels. when you understand the suffering nature of samsara, you will feel gratitude for these rituals, and faith and devotion will really arise from the bottom of your heart. So that's important.
세제 상제 탐제당 빠오 남절 마남군 달라 공발 대더설 다멘 도지선바시 지외 근데 내는 종내에서 제시 rancho 닝부 발 제달 유섬 공부남 상처 떠는 민제배 rancho 샘네 라나미 남바 바기 집진에第8节 초천 기는 라바당 게베 주는 두바당 심진 동지 초천섬 소설 띵볼 종화예 상지 주당 상지 남절 돈바라 상지 주당 괴든 때 라나 매배 고조섬 등내 쌈대 종화제 도지 rencho 제보라 도지 저부 사자양 대코 많이 종화제 lokmu 다장 종화제 렌치 렌초 젠보예 남색 이더 오마라 니리 연더 두속터 짐바 남예 다드지 상척 진보 레송웨 빼매 르치 딱발라 선낭 상회 특바섬 남비 취는 종화제 레제 렌초 진보라 돈바 통제 진바는 양다 니더 종화제 주배 레장 제니제 산촉 샘네 라미초 담바 다키 집기네 샘진 군제 동지설 다키 돈바 마리종 마달 와남 다바제 마돌 와남 도바제 옥마 쳔바 옥용생 샘치 냥이 내라고.
In English, all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, Dakas and Dakinis, please heed me, just as the Buddhas, after 3 times, gave rise to bodhicitta, so shall I, with the name Vajrasattva, give rise to unsurpassed, sublime bodhicitta from this day onwards until attaining enlightenment with the Samaya of the Buddha family. I will practice and firmly uphold all 3 types of ethical discipline the discipline of refraining from negative actions, the discipline of practicing virtue, and the discipline of benefiting beings. From now on, I will always follow the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, the unsurpassed three jewels, with the Samaya of the Supreme Vajra family. I will always hold the mudra of Vajra and Bell as a sign of the ultimate nature. With the delightful Samaya of the Supreme Ratna family, I will engage in the 4 types of generosity throughout the 6 times of day and night, with the Samaya of the great pure Lotus family, born from great awakening. I will uphold all Dharma teachings, the outer, inner, and secret vehicles, with the Samaya of the Supreme Karma family. I will perfectly uphold each and every vow and make offerings to whatever extent I am able. I will give rise to sacred, unexcelled, supreme bodhicitta. For the sake of all beings, I will fully uphold all vows without exception. I will free those who are unfree. I will liberate those not liberated. I will give breath to those without breath. I will establish all beings in nirvana.
다들이 상속 세계라 다 메다요 그래도 강매잖아. 다들이 다다 프로페티 봐라 삼지 시바데 주지 마다 버거 말이야. 이 삼지의 자치 보이마 하고요 말이. 이 대로 상지 그것은 이 시간 요하고 말 디슬들이 다 메다요 그요래. 뭐 작전에 나와라 만나요. 뭐 아주 이미 빨간애들이 다다 이 삼지의 뭐 어디 다 중중서 다 약간 이렇게 동담 상속된 대라더니 체매봐 이제 지용라 되니 대세 되니 동담 상속된 통속을 체매봐 지용 그럼 재미지거든요. 대소가들 도저히 가보지 않아봐서 공부서 다다다 상태에서 대리상 탐지 문제도 받대래지. 도로 상태에 문제거리다.
So here at this point we should wear the blindfold, and what the blindfold symbolizes is that so now we don't recognize love, even though there is love. For example, even the slightest feeling of love between a mother and her child, it's very precious, but we don't recognize that. We don't see how precious it actually is. And we also don't understand the qualities of the Buddha's 3 kayas and the 5 wisdoms. So that is the meaning of having your eyes covered with that blindfold. And so then you're wearing the blindfold, and then you visualize at your heart is a full moon on disc, and that full moon at your heart has the nature of love, and that's the relative bodhicitta. And then for the ultimate bodhicitta arises when the 4 immeasurables arise. Then you can really see the ultimate nature of bodhicitta, and that is represented by white 5-pointed vajra, which is on top of that moon disk at your heart. So together they represent the relative and the ultimate bodhicitta. And so what we need to recognize here at this point is the quality of love. So this is all in order to recognize that. That's most important. And to recognize love, that is really the root of the empowerment.
Om Nama Me Hong. Om Nama Nama Hong Soa. Om Nama Te Hong. Nama Me Hong. Nama Nama Hong Soa. Om Nama Te Hong. Nama Me Hong. Nama Nama Hong Soa. And then Kuya Chum, something I'm supposed to get something on the Doji to the channel drop. Samaya Dinara Maki Shibata Gondop Sancho sent the double up with Job. D could have Sancho sent the come something to start chasing something one time to this doctor over there. They want to know something. Gondop Sancho sent the double is something coming over something.
So here we are, we are bound to the Samaya, which is the bodhicitta. So basically, it is an instruction: hold on to love. That's really the commitment. Hold on to bodhicitta, and do not allow this bond of love to become broken. And that really is to sustain this bond of love, that's really the life force of all empowerments. The meaning of any empowerment is just that, it's love, or what we call the relative bodhicitta, that we have to guard really with great care. So the essence of the commitment is love.
사람도 정아 이제 나의 지식이가 고아서 이쪽에 사고서 주에 나는 니 봐야만 자신 가게에는 조양아 마마마마 제가 뒤에는 야월 저월 동스타리 나한테 땅에 줘서 산초 샘데 돌아 마땅 시다가 달아 막거지 라비오리 이 저도 산초 샘데 구독산초선 침배들 때는 주다다 머리를 보자 탑요리 대라 소는 이 성심을 했더니 야탁하고 요래 이런 거 때라고 요랬다 sabti la sono chu mi song chen res.
So then here these next lines in the empowerment text basically say that you should follow the command of the Hevajra master and not denigrate that command, because otherwise you fall into hell. But what that means is that the command is do not lose your love, do not allow your bodhicitta to become destroyed, and do not get angry at an enemy. And the reason why you have now obtained a precious human body is because you have cultivated great love before. If you lose it, if you lose your love, you will fall into the lower realms. And once you are in the lower realms, it will be very difficult to become liberated for a very long time. So this is what this part is saying here, is that if you lose your love, this is what will really plunge you into the three lower realms. I request all Tathagatas to bestow their blessings and I supplicate the glorious Vajrasattva to descend upon me.
나 상제도 상조 선바 탑제라 대박이 잡서 선나 이 도지 선바 동 나로 도지 선바 와도 도지 선바 가래리 랑게 재미지라 뒤니 이 세문 차공도 잡지는 차롬도 차들 차롬도 선은 드리주 잠소를 장요만 노동요만 대도 마这个把这里把도지 선바 지면 랑게 세문 나오 그냥 반대리 이 재미지 저 나오 그냥 봐도 요 말이 참아더니 재미 봐도 생각한다고 차도 다나디 도지 선바 시바 남파가 빼리 동대리
And so now, having requested a refuge of the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas and their blessings with faith and devotion, then we supplicate, may Vajrasattva descend upon me. So what that means is that, who is that Vajrasattva really? So if you cultivate the 4 immeasurables, then the ice block of the self-grasping mind will dissolve. And when the ice has melted, then there's no more going around on, like floating around on the ocean, because then there's no more ice block. And so until then, there is this concept of me and I. And that mind is actually Vajrasattva. And when you cultivate the 4 immeasurables, then this sense of me becomes burned away, and you realize the space-like nature of the mind. So Vajrasattva is represents this space-like nature.
Ruslang med tabje chekchong megram jin amba de gomna ta saha khashir wan khashir te yore wan khashir te delati be me badi masa ma de be ma bo yore deni le ta bo cha gom tu gom mari de lo yo mani deni rang de hong gom de hong de hong me ba gom ne de ta gom na deni ta da donna da chi pa ma wa ba de me ba tong go yore And
so then next there's this the descent of the wisdom being, and there's a quite elaborate visualization for that, and it's quite difficult for a beginning practitioner to visualize all of that, but I will just read that visualization. But for your visualization, you can just meditate on the Hung syllable, because most of you are familiar with the meditation on the Hung. And also, the Hung is really the life force syllable of all the deities. So just visualize a Hung blazing like fire, luminous and brilliant, and think that your entire body is like burned away, disappears. First there is no outer and no inner, and then the body is burned away, and everything becomes the nature of fire. In the secret mantra, in particular in the new tantric tradition, there often is a lot of visualization. It's very elaborate in the empowerments, but that's very difficult for beginning practitioners to visualize. But we still have to recite it, so I will read that. But you can just meditate on the Hung, blazing like fire. But in brief, the whole point of the visualization is to eliminate this grasping at me, at the self. Because for as long as there is this clinging to a me, the blessings of the deity cannot really enter your mind. Because the real blessing of the deity is the altruistic mind.
Romano che Romana che Romani che so adesso sono doge na wa ta ye ko Kundo Mapo Ye Bemada Yunti Sebe Trevor Ye Jange Jangbe Yankar and Galamle Sai Jankor Sepoto Ye Doji and Timber Tevanyamala Home Go Wame Che Go Kamodobo Bensin with Davala Hum Gabo Divayan which one boy Jata Party one yet Davala Ama Po Kangbe Longbe Nije the look at Jankorum, look at Jankoja Barry Ramle May Jankorum Apo Trotumba, you get it with the Travala Nebe Tahamma Roma de Jimbe Ranganyanka Sound Ye with Namdi Tong Koya Dorji Rato. Namji Johnny, the Namji Ramji, Hogda Ha, I, Yigin number, Yigin number, Damjin, Damji Gangbe, Bogan, Yam, Joja, social way, Jobadang, Hong La, Toba was there. Namji Tadago Gunni Kawaya Jabamela Tambaya Avishaya Talaya Hong Asahem Theatre same about Shiva and Yasan and Manager with the temperature Trameza Copalata Copalata makes change.
If you have an image of the deity, then you can look at this image now. So open your eyes and look at the image of the deity.
Can we home that is a custom in the Nasa ho Tatan Nasa amongst the Mahabala Terring Dodges among a Chuja Melody person. Choja Melody Barato Doji Melna Lalami Tamje Melody Barato Jana Tagyo also Amigdalan Show the
Now please remove the blindfold.
Oh, the lions in it on number de was similar email at the Hakos on the Hakos on the not touching our becoming the argument not on the same Napata charges or Sajachibu, or Sajachibu, more to Patan City, didn't like the already.
So at this point you see the ultimate truth, which is the non-dual mind. It's the mind where all, the greatly blissful mind where all ordinary thinking has ceased. So those of you who are familiar with the practice of Mahamudra, who have recognized the space-like nature of the mind, at this point just continue to remain within that state.
Lomana, go, Lopunje, Shatajo, Yep, Dorje, Lamne, Yumje, Pema, Pavicum de Dorje, Namba, Pema, Song, the Water, Purba, your Lopu says, your song, don't let me, Sancho changes, say one person. Then but one that I will go with the thing about Tama Yuri, then go to all that. Purchase your married, Jedoji, say, Lopu, damn the Save. That's what they know you read.
So this is there's a visualization here for the empowerment of the like the heart sun of the Vajra Master. So think that now you become like a child of the Vajra Master, basically a child of bodhicitta. So there's this whole visualization here, but actually, again, remember that all sentient beings possess Buddha nature. Now here we just think that we recognize that and we see ourselves as like the child, and Hevajra, or the Vajra Master, who we visualize as Hevajra, as the Yidam deity, and we are like the child of that Yidam deity. So in brief, whoever has Buddha nature is a child of the Buddha, and so here we just need to recognize that. So think that Hevajra and consort holding vases in their hands are bestowing the empowerment on all sentient beings. So all sentient beings receive the empowerment.
Ramji, Jinamje, Chuji, Bala, Wankorje.
English. And Tathagata, Bhagavan, great sage, compassionate one, please bestow empowerment upon me.
Doji Sama Sumso, Sajik, Jimbaraza, Owa, Beza, Udaka, Abekeza, Hovasara, Tom Aham, Sanadon the church, no church, Zuma, relatively, get Doji, retreat subject, Chapa Papa Naji, Tawanari, the leaders of the council, Guangzhou, they did not church it. Juan, Larry, Maria, Shipaso, take each body, and number rock, oh, church the single of Goret. Number rock, oh, church the Larry. She let it down number of the Tassum, that of your
This is the empowerment nectar, or by the empowerment is conferred. And so think that on top of the crown of each and every sentient being, there is this Hevajra with consort empowerment deity pouring the nectar into their crowns, and think that then the nectar enters into the central channel and fills up the entire body. And so this water, actually, all the 5 elements are the deity. And also here we should recognize that. It's important to recognize that this water, the elements are the deity. So the highest yogi would recognize water as the deity. And so again here, we see it in different ways depending on whether our mental capacity is highest, middling, or lower.
Dane, Chutile, Rangdang, Yindong, Si Nujer, Borje, Lopon, Jin Wang, Toji, Terji, Balator.
English. Through your kindness, I will accomplish the purpose of others and myself. Please grant me the treasure of compassion, the empowerment of the Vajra Master. So here, during this empowerment, think that it is that the fire of primordial wisdom burns away all karmic imprints of samsara. Somebody who is able to eliminate the afflictive emotions and thoughts through awareness is able to transform the 5 afflictions into the 5 wisdoms. So that is the empowerment that we have received here. That is, if one has received it, if one has understood the profound instruction.
범자실이 제식이 뉴바 해당 체보였지나 애들이 해당 라빙으로 또나 동상선 로열에 저기 받지 냠선 용데 뭐만 냠용단 줄 아무나 배송을 대외는 되는 이유가 나지 시작적이 시작들이 뭐 제시 동들이 있을 결정을 매 적들이 생각서 삼아서 배제다에 또한 탑대리 이거는 냠선 용신으로 마땅히가 하고 요래 근데 뭔 랑게디 그런데 냠선 용어 다지가 다 시에송다 가리는 상고래 냠선 용거래 뭐만 냠용도 되고 그래
The nature of the afflictive emotions is primordial wisdom, but it's also something that you have to experience. You have to feel that. So, for example, when any afflictive emotion arises and you know how to meditate, then, for example, a very strong feeling of anger arises, and you recognize it instantly with mindfulness, and you look at the essence of that anger that arises. Then when you see its essence, then instantly it just becomes completely empty. So that's the experience to be gained. Emilia Repa had said that meditation involves gaining an actual experience. So there are 5 afflictive emotions, but 1 wisdom that destroys them. Or 1 wisdom transforms the 84,000 different afflictive emotions. It is just like 1 fire burns away all kinds of wood and trees and so on. So that's the skillful method of the secret mantra. There are many disciples who know that, who have some experience with that. But if you do not have if you're not very diligent, then you also won't have that experience. And then when you hear that, you may just feel like, oh, he said something like that, but what does that really mean? So then you don't really understand because you haven't gained a real experience. So meditation or practice means to gain an actual experience.
중앙아데 동바의 차차들이 나우치 탑지를 마디나 동상세들이 나 동성 욕조 이 제거들이 다랑이 평강점지 잠시 다살을 조성데 대들이 다 랑게 도용아 롱조라들이 대타와 많이 거가는 줄들이 살을 조성 대설이 다 로마타들 주바퍼 조고요래데 내가 랑 조고요래데 이렇게 소리 주바퍼 고요래데
So the 5 aggregates are like the seeds of the 5 Buddha families, and they are also connected to the 5 afflictive emotions. And the 5 elements are by nature the 5 female Buddhas. And so when basically the aggregates or whatever appears, the appearing aspect is the male, the appearing aspect, like the elements and so on. And then the 5 elements or the female aspect are the aspect of the empty nature. And so basically, if you do not grasp at whatever appears, then they become a union. Then appearances are empty, the union of emptiness and appearances. And then your aggregates and sense sources and elements all become the deity. And then, being the deity, you can enjoy any of the 5 sense pleasures if you do not become distracted from that state. And so, therefore, you all have become deities, and then it is like a deity is making an offering to the deity. So, therefore, now I'm making offerings to you.
Tobu, Lara Tabe, Toka Mountain, Yiba, my mean to the little from a Lara, no, ye, show me a girl called Hovagon, I've got Latham City, the Majum, Tabapanaji, pop songs, it's the top that I'm not Giddy Chapa Capsa, not Giddy Chapa Capsa, the Tokatan Caption, Hongata, top songs. They didn't follow that in it as a Yavi party, Yavi or the Yavi is a say so in now at the Tombo Chivar, now chat of the Yap Tombo chat of the young military, the Babiba, Dolly, Yavi, send the bio, immediately me party, Theta Gonatary, Macoratary, Yavi Nicopanatary, Cocoyore, Theta Gongoyore, three, young Talon Yamiga Chapar, country, Yoko, what is a Chapar Yore, Yami Chapar Capture, Theta red.
So then I think that from now for the mantra transmission, that from the space, then many mantra garlands emerge, or they fall down, descend down like rain falling down. So forms of the deity and also mantra syllables fall down and then dissolve into you. And so when you then recite the mantra, when you repeat the mantra, think that now you have received the mantra syllables of the mantra, which then begin to circle around the hung syllable at your heart. And so it seems outwardly looking that there is a duality, there is the male and the female, the yap and the yum, but actually they only have two bodies, but really have one mind. And the yap or the male aspect represents the aspect of appearance, and the female, the yum, represents the aspect of emptiness. And you recognize their union when you do not grasp at anything, when the mind remains in this non-dual state without grasping. So then think that this mantra garland, this is what is represented by the mantra garland that is circling between the male and the female, the yap and the yum. So then there's also in the channels and winds practices, so there's a different way of visualizing when a mantra garland also goes clockwise. So there might be slight differences in like how to visualize the mantra garland.
Deva better home pays over. Home pays over. Better dark and home pays over. Deva better home pays over. Better dark and home pays over. Deva better home pays over. Better dark and home pays over. John the Dagi Zong La Chi Dala Nevar Zedo So
Bhagavan, as I have taken you to be my master, please take me under your care.
John the Dalaja Dangwa Zedo So Zetar one quarter children, Tim Jay, what the Chiton Pamba on top, Tama Rigely, Tower Sab, Lesson Jetama, Marsaba Junction, Sima Dam, Tomaiba, Lutamata de Bertama, True Nibachapajinjo, Lam Taper and Bagumba, one river.
Having thus received empowerment, you enter and behold the outer mandala of characteristics. You have received the base empowerment. In general, the defilements of mainly the three non-virtuous deeds accumulated with the body are purified and prevented from further arising. In particular, the defilements of perceiving the body as ordinary is cleansed. The extraordinary power of the Nirmanakaya is planted into your mind, As for the path, you are empowered to practice the generation stage. As for the result, you are endowed with the fortune to actualize the Vajra body.
초지, 샤비, 가든지, 다기, 라미, 사와 톱, 대서, 싸매, 왕기네, 공부, 지서, zwanzu스.
In English, with your kindness, grant me unsurpassed power, and thus, protector, care for me by offering me the secret empowerment.
로부 지바도제 야연도 사회 념적게 랑게 토게 사무제 오제 되지와요 념적에 바고 나가 샤르죠 작바 전부 여와도 때네 주 가사다 바베 랑게 상생단 리베세 비직바 탐지 쇼방고 저버들 가사노 바바죠 이제 로부 지바도지 야연데 네베스리티 야연거 상생도 텐송시 너는 지바도지 야연거 무슨 상생이지 이제 랑게 줄라용들이 세계 랍자라들이 사람 딱 부산생 무슨 마다 상생때 다 마다냐 상생고 제발 말 생각지단 거리 생들아왕 중에들이 거기 대화집이시 대도구시 무슨 소나 이제 딱 가면 좀 좋아해 될 대화집 못될 시인데 들이 니디 샬 리피트 차징을 내서들이 죽는 좀 좋아해 돈을 조용히 이어가 용살의 용디는 뭐 되게 요래데 감사적 선들 리 대화도 못했다 상하잖아 이제 다다 중국들이 코박이 다 차대 요래 대들이 돈이 실제서 니디도 다성들이 되게 될지 대동 이시하고 우리 동대래데.
So here I think that this is the empowerment where we taste the bodhicitta drops, the melted essence of the yab, Hevajra, yab and yums, the male and the female union. So what it represents is the actual bodhicitta of Hevajra, yab and yum. So it's called the bodhicitta drop. And now from there's basically we speak about the drop from like the impure drop and then the pure bodhicitta drop. And it's the same drop, there's not a different drop, but the difference lies in the whether or not one is grasping within the mind, whether or not the mind has attained freedom. And so when you recognize the nature of mind that is greatly blissful, which is referred to as the primordial awareness of empty bliss, and that is recognized, then this previously impure bodhicitta element, this drop, this subtle drop, becomes pure, becomes a pure element. And so that has the nature of great bliss. But then if it's not recognized, then it is through the experience of great bliss that, for example, two people begin to cling to each other because they see each other in a dualistic way, and then they accumulate karma based on attachment. And so then it becomes a fault. Then that bodhicitta drop, that subtle drop, becomes the cause of samsara. So here at this point, we are introduced to the actual quality of the bodhicitta drop, which clears away the fault that can come from it. So this is what the Vajrayana introduces us to. So when it remains unrecognized, then it becomes a fault, because then it becomes the root, the foundation of samsara. But when recognized, that is when you unify your empty mind with a clear awareness, then you will become free of this dualistic perception, And when there is no dualistic grasping, then you recognize this blissful state that is generated by the bodhicitta drop as the empty bliss of primordial awareness.
아호 마하서 칸 아호 마하서 가지고지 이 산촉천 광거라지 대화침보지 대화침보자 참에 속고요 이 대화침보들 시자데 니지들이 핀지들 니지들이 차들이 무거운 치마를 신소들이 다 죽는 정도에 이제 매번 돈을 썼다들 값들이 세는 이제 소를 내려요 이제 소를 내릴 값성도 가리 캡포버 내값 농경은 내값 인통은 내값 써버렸더니 대신 좀 그런 이제 소라 세트도 내려 값 될들이 탑람성 탑 될들이 사제가 잘롱냐미 탐지 못 주는 거래 대하고 그래지.
So there's this mantra Mahasukam, which means a great bliss, and that is great bliss is the nature of your mind. That's the nature of the bodhicitta drop. The natural state of the mind is great bliss, and actually we always feel it, we always kind of experience it, but we also need to recognize it, because now when we so even though we do experience the great bliss, our true nature, then ordinary people become attached, they begin to cling to it. So first they perceive each other in a dualistic way, and then because of this dualistic perception, people, like two people for example, they become attached to each other. So then they cling to each other. And then it's because of this clinging attachment and the fixation to a concrete existence and our various ideas about it, that actually that quality of great bliss then turns into a fault. But actually when great bliss arises and you look at its nature, at your mind in that moment, you can actually see the non-dual state. It is said that there is 3 instances where anyone naturally comes to the nature of the mind. And that is at the time of death, when the consciousness transfers, and it is during sexual union, and it is during the deep sleep state. So during these 3 times, everyone comes to Buddha nature, their true nature. And then the Vajrayana is a skillful method to recognize that. And that is then the teachings on the channels, winds, and drops, and so on. Having thus received empowerment, you enter and behold the mandala of the secret womb. You have received the secret empowerment. In general, the defilements of mainly the 4 non-virtuous deeds accumulated with the speech are purified and prevented from further arising. In particular, the defilements of the karmic winds are purified. The extraordinary power of the Sambhogakaya is planted into your mind. As for the path, you are empowered to engage in the practice of blessing yourself. As for the result, you are endowed with the fortune to actualize Vajra's speech.
Jondi, Sheva, Cheboche, Boje, Namjor, Jekjeba, Merci, Saja, Drapapo, Doji, Jole, Yanda Song, Jetar, Chune, Dani Che, Nabda, Dalan, Tetanju, Hova, Damje, Tonante, Senwa, Yami, Dala Jo.
English, Bhagavan, Great Peaceful One, the single intent of Vajra Yoga, who accomplished the indestructible mudra, you are born from the exalted Vajra union. I beseech you, a great being, powerful master, please impart it also unto me. Please protect me, a helpless being, from drowning in the swamps of samsara.
Holoran para jova ye deva samanyo ma je do jara do samne yesen no no do che parta je parta kante ji jo yi je yi de no wo me khoma ni ji am da sa yap je so me kwa han le hon do jo ko te ngo ba do je ma yi je ma me wa Alebe mama bonda mam simba 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 ya vi no ba jo sa jo sem jo bo ne de ba na gawa de ba ne yin ga ba jo ga ti wa ni riti de wa tu ma nyam sa 단디 공거들 라리 탑데 좀들이 동공들이 들이 초콜릿들이 라왕토나 이 일을 제치들이 이sep지 동전들이 나홀롱신 라왕토디 내가 그 나또 이실 저 동대 쪽발에 동대 쪽받지 장에서 나또 이실 저 탑들이 유몽 이실 저 탑들이 가래나들이 라왕토거리 실변 낚시들이 레롱거지 레롱거만 추송 또 치사제 실이 낚시 레롱거지 장네들이 레롱거리 실은 유몽바 강나 뒤지서 이광 저도 요래 다 유몽 라왕토나 다 라왕 요래 다때게 다 산지에 공방지 그래서 나가 체면 대로 거요래 들이 고성부 용대양 중구요래 너나 다리지 동대래 다디 일을 대치 좀 랑랑망 토나 다다리 일을 대치 디왕래
So then here in this, so in the previous empowerment, we have said we were empowered to practice with our own body as the support or like as a skillful means. And so here we have mainly focused then on the visualization where we meditate and we practice with the channels, winds and drops until we attain complete freedom or autonomy of the wind mind. And then after we have attained that freedom, so then here now in the context of this empowerment, and then once we have attained this freedom, then we are empowered to also benefit others. So then is the time where we go out and engage in the benefit of others. So so here regarding the wind mind that we have attained autonomy of, it is the same as we mentioned before. It is the transformation of the afflictive emotions into primordial wisdom. So it is only that, and it's exactly the same meaning as we had mentioned before. So the afflictive emotions when they become primordial wisdom, you have attained freedom of the mind. Normally when we die, then the consciousness follows the karmic winds. And karmic winds, following the karmic winds means that you follow whichever of the afflictive emotions is predominant. So you are controlled by the afflictive emotions. That is what is meant with following the karmic winds. But if you have gained control, then you will not become overpowered by the afflictive emotions. And then you attain the state of Buddhahood. And so you must therefore recognize ultimately what is to be recognized is that there is no difference between your mind and space. And then from this also all the qualities of the three kayas and so on arise. So once you have attained such power, such freedom of your mind, then you are authorized, you're empowered to also give bliss to others. So this empowerment is related to the four joys, the four levels of bliss, which also are related to the four levels of empowerment. And the four levels of empowerment are also related to the four stages of yoga, the four yogas of Mahamudra, which are single-pointedness, freedom from elaboration, one taste, and non-meditation. And so the experience of these four yogas of Mahamudra arise in the context of the experience of the four joys. And so in brief, they arise when you do not grasp at duality, when you do not grasp at the concrete existence of appearances and your concepts about them, and then not grasping at duality, then you will also not lose the subtle drop. And so the subtle drop then remains within the crown chakra, which is actually also the source of the Buddha's crown ornament. But that is the meaning of the Buddha's crown ornament. So, however, on the other hand, if you do grasp at a duality, the concrete existence of appearances and the thoughts arising in your mind, then you will also lose the subtle drop. And together with the subtle drop, you are losing your wisdom. So they decline together. And when they decline, when the drop declines and a drop is lost, then also your experience of bliss, the bliss is lost. So that's the main inner samaya of the secret mantra, which is to not lose the drop. And therefore, it is this particular samaya is related to the practice of the channels, winds, and drops.
라메자 자와요 진장래 로마연이 줄라 족과도 로치도 줘서 깝들 저땅 상한이 공디 랑가 살아들이 랑서 보는 사탐들이 형들이 내가 지금 나한테 요거 니지면은 사탐들이 줘봐 이 보는 사다다 공비들이 다다 라는 게 대화지까지 살아보면 사탐시 됐다고 내 줘봐요 거요 그래서 니지메봐 용고래 동태리 되게 오늘 살고 먹거니 라게 담도 싸와들이 예담도 예담 콜로데 좋은 삶의 주제 탐지 자리 주고 대초도 직발에 동 살고도 사지 이자로 가리면 이 대초도 동직발에 대초 양미신에 진짜 사만양미 시기래야지.
So and here, so for the visualization, you visualize then yourself as the deity, and so then from from yourself visualize as the deity, and light radiates, and it summons all the Buddhas in Yab Yum form, and they then enter your mouth and bless your body, so you become inseparable from them, of one taste. And so, in brief, what you should remember here is that when you visualize yourself as the deity, the secret mantra teaches that your body, all the deities dwell within your body. And so therefore, when you experience great bliss, if you do not grasp at duality, then this experience of great bliss actually becomes an offering to all the deities within you. So therefore, bliss becomes an offering. But the point is that you must be free of dualistic grasping. And so actually, in the new tantric, the classes of the new tantras, the principal yidam deity is Chakra Samvara. And so if you're familiar with Chakra Samvara, you can just visualize Chakra Samvara. And even though in the new tantric system also there are different deities that appear in different ways with different colors and implements and ornaments and so on, they all really have the same essence. They have the essence of Chakra Samvara. So if you know the practice of Chakra Samvara, then you understand the practice of all the deities.
Nani Checho Garden Dobu Wanker Namsam Top Drikung Rinpoche Yepayan Garden Institute.
In English, with your kindness, I have obtained the three empowerments of the principal deity. Protector, please care for me by offering me the precious fourth empowerment.
시랍대니 요걸 접어 상속의 셈 원배 랍든 배제베 접어 미바니도 접어 대 권한이 이제 주삼지 삼지 맞잡에 삼지 맞잡아 이제 란지 이나 너다데 사자치고 나니 도대 정치부 란지 되니 왕집에 시 옛나 그냥 왕스버 가서 뭐 대비 신지제 시랍 이시되니 동절신지제 레버뉴가 임베 대다와 상쪽에 셈되니 곰대 곰퍼세베 공내 공대 랍든 퍼지임베 드바탐제 사과미베 드바탐제 세베 미바니도 저베 대 권한이 이제 추삼지 삼점에 잡으람지 워서 추적거든 이나도다데베 화이고 사자시고 오롱주도 먹고요 당이 당예미베 동조 도진 장기부 랑지 강이 바테는 왕집은 오이베 똑바시셰스.
Bodhicitta is the cause of wisdom and knowledge. Therefore, if you habituate to it, wisdom will vastly increase. The unfathomable nature of all phenomena, the fundamental reality as it is free from all obscurations. Its essence is Mahamudra endowed with the 7 attributes of Vajradhara. This is the primordial wisdom of the 4th empowerment. The symbolic innate wisdom introduced by the 3rd empowerment is the cause of this result, which is the actual innate nature. Through cultivating bodhicitta and habituating it, wisdom increases higher and higher. The clear light Dharmakaya is the basic space of reality, free from all defilements of karma and obscurations. It is the unfathomable nature of all phenomena. The Sambhogakaya represents the essence of the 7-fold Mahamudra. The union of the Dharmakaya and the Sambhogakaya is the essence of the 4th empowerment. So, on the basis you possess Buddha nature, and then through the experience of great bliss, all afflictive emotions, all discursive thinking is shattered. It comes to an end in that moment, and you come to the basis, the ground of your mind. And that is, if you recognize it, you see the fundamental nature of the mind. And when you see it, you see that there is not the slightest obscuration actually that exists. And therefore Milarepa had said, when you recognize the falsehood of the afflictive emotions, there is, aside from recognizing the falsehood of the afflictive emotions, there is no other perfection of primordial wisdom than that. So, as I mentioned before, to recognize it, meditation means to experience, to habituate to it, to gain an ongoing experience, so that you're able to allow all afflictive emotions that arise to dissolve into their natural state. And we always mention that. And so the afflictive emotion that is more difficult to liberate, for example, is anger. But anger is mirror-like wisdom, the mind that is like a mirror. So when you're able, if you're able to look at this affliction directly, and then the obscuration is cleared away in this moment. And of those 4 yogas of Mahamudra, that is the state of non-meditation. So at that time, what you recognize is, as Milarepa had said, when you recognize that your mind and space are inseparable, are not different, you have actualized the Dharmakaya. So this is the meaning to be understood, but as I mentioned before, meditation or practicing means to gain an actual experience.
대다 왕국의 조제 동담는 사주스 예정호도 조생 통 왕제바 저원 뭐지 토몽하고 섬제 저마 저마 참모 박차당지와 나르삭바 장제 정말 덤 토몽 많이 봐 시제 저마 종지제 남도 참모남 그오니 그 대화 좀 바체바진 조 람사자체 뭐 성교가 남들고 말 왕제 도지선 로냠베시 도제는 뭐가 디드세서.
Having thus received empowerment, you enter and behold the mandala of ultimate bodhicitta. You have received the fourth empowerment, the precious word empowerment. In general, the subtle defilements of the three doors and their habitual imprints are purified and prevented from further arising. In particular, the defilements of primordial wisdom, the subtle conceptual thoughts of subject-object duality are cleansed. The extraordinary power of the great bliss Svabhavika Kaya is planted into your mind. As for the path, you are empowered to practice the Mahamudra Yoga of Union. As for the result, you have the fortune to accomplish the primordial wisdom Vajra, that is the sameness of the three Vajras.
다시 담색 와서 담색에다 좀 서리 들이 때 건담과 담색 신마인 봐 그것도 담색들이 산적처럼 뭐지 들이 다다래 왕들은 사성들이 들어배는 가서 연락들이 왕조고리 들이 참아 다시 들으셔야지.
At the end, we come to the Samaya, which is the keeping the Samaya is the life force of the empowerment. But we already mentioned that before. And so in brief, the Samaya on the ultimate level is to be without distraction. And the Samaya on the relative level is to cultivate the precious bodhicitta. And so this completes the empowerment. It took a little bit longer, but it was necessary. Anyways, Dashi Delek to all of you. So we should
Sanjo Semjo Rinpoche Maje Bana Jijoje Jiba Yamba Meba Yang Hong Leo Gong De Bewa Sho.
Then we just read just this one on. If you have the yellow prayer book, the Jigten Sumgun's dedication on page 18. Glorious, holy, venerable, precious, kind, root and lineage gurus, divine assembly of yidams, assemblies of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, heroes and heroines, yogini and her assembly of dakinis, all of you dwelling in the 10 directions, please heed me. By the power of this vast root of virtue, may I benefit all beings through my body, speech, and mind. May the afflictions of attachment, hatred, ignorance, pride, and jealousy not arise in my mind. May thoughts of fame, reputation, respect, honor, and concern for this life not arise for even a moment. May my mind stream be moistened by loving kindness, compassion, and bodhicitta, and may I become a spiritual master with good qualities equal to the infinity of space. May I gain the supreme attainment of Mahamudra in this very life. At the moment of death, may I not experience the suffering of being abruptly severed from this life. May I not suffer a terrible death. May I not die confused by wrong views. May I not experience an untimely death. May I die joyfully and happily in the great luminosity of the mind itself, and in the crystal clarity of Dharmata. May I, in any case, gain the supreme attainment of Mahamudra at the time of death or in the bardo. Let me do long life prayers, right? Yes, continue. For this realm, encircled by snow-covered mountains, you are the source of all benefit and happiness. Tenzin Gyatso, Lord Chenrizik, may you remain steadfast until the end of samsara. embodiment of the three jewels, great being who upholds and increases the teachings of the Shakya lion, supreme are your activities of guiding others with your perfect deeds. May you, the precious Guru, who accomplishes everything spontaneously, live long. Holder of the teachings of Lord Drikung Ba, great Lord of the three jewels, through the power of your peerless compassion and the holy Dharma's peace and light, you bring relief to beings. May your life be long. The one known in the noble land as Arya Deva, emanated into the Gar clan of eastern Tibet as Chidingpa, the heart son of Chikden Gompo. May the life of glorious Garchen remain steadfast for 100 eons. Okay. Finished.
Good appetit. First time, this is here last and more. In there, no problem.